reactions and your criticism. Welcome to Voice of the People 90.3 FM, where you actually have a voice. My name is Esther Wachko. Once again, I would implore you to follow our social media handles at VOP 903 FM. This program is done audio visual. You can join us on YouTube at VOP 903 FM. So today quite a lot actually happened. I'm going to start off with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So today officially the president visited Benue State. I'm sure we heard the report since yesterday. And Benue State government declared today a public holiday in their state in anticipation of the president's visit. Now, the first thing we saw today that was quite dramatic was the fact that the passage, that is the route the president will actually pass through to get to the venue in Benue, was already flooded and it was blockaded with water. We also saw later in the news that the president's vehicle or convoy was actually immersed in the water. We thought at some point he was going to have to go back, but thank God finally he made it to the venue. Now, another thing that let a lot of Nigerians complain was the fact that they saw children in the rain being soaked, all right, welcoming the president. And thus, that was not just the only thing. The governor of the state actually asked residents to come out and celebrate and welcome the president as he was coming into the state in joy and colorful exuberance and anticipation towards his visit. Now, another thing that made a lot of Nigerians complain was that while the president was coming into Benue, they saw posters. It looked like either a rally or a campaign, posters of the president and Governor Hyacinth Dalia, like the president was coming to the state to commission a project, not coming to felicitate with the people, commiserate with the victims that died, and, you know, kind of empathize with the people. It almost looked like it was a commission of a project that the president instituted in every cadre of our society. So Nigerians have been asking General Yakubu Gowon to come and tell us the truth, give us his own narrative, his own narration of what happened during the civil war. How come the federal government of Nigeria caused all of that collateral damage, that casualty, where women and children were actually killed in that instance? It was a very brutal one. And I remember, if you remember, the correspondent during the Civil War from the BBC who actually decided to report from his own point of view, and he made quite a lot of disclosure that the Nigerian army there, they didn't seem to be cognizant of the lives of women and children. General Yakubu Gowon said that he told the army or the men to give us his own perspective to that, some of the details that were given by General Yakubu Gowon. But I don't know if you can make out his statement, if you can make out what he said. He's old. I want you to understand that. So you may not be able to make out some of his words, but I need you to just listen attentively. I played it during the world news at 6, but we had a very limited time. So let's replay it again, and I need you to pay attentively so that you can just listen to the question that he was asked, and then we can proceed from there.
Right. That very night, or early morning, when I was woken up to see, but the instruction that I gave the senior or also in charge at that time was to make sure that if he was kept safe, taken safe somewhere until God is able to sort out the insurrection that had already started.
Okay, generally what General Yakubu Gowon was actually saying was that the Nigerian war was actually never about the Igbos. He said that he wanted to get Nigeria united, hence he enforced a code of conduct during the war. Now, he superintended over Nigeria during the Biafran Civil War from 1967 to 1970, and we know that the war led to the death of thousands of Nigerians in the old eastern region. Gowon said he charged the Nigerian soldiers to only take up arms against the Biafran forces, and in that interview, he said he warned the soldiers against killing women and children. He said he was not aware of a counter coup in 1966. He said he was not aware until that very night when he was woken up to say something had happened in Abeokuta, that the war was something we didn't expect. His first-hand experience of what transpired on ground with the Nigerian soldiers to possibly attribute some of the statements that was made by General Yakubu Gowon that the Nigerian soldiers then went above and ahead on their own to continue with the mayhem and the bloodletting, and this was not in permission with the federal government of Nigeria, which was obviously headquartered in Lagos. The rules of engagement were not to engage, women and children, which obviously are usually the casualties of war, but that it was supposed to be against the Biafran soldiers. Well, the Nigerian soldiers did and acted on their own, and Mr. Forsyth actually gave us details of what General Gowon is actually saying. It's either the federal government headquartered in Lagos is lying, or the Nigerian army had gone out of control. And General Yakubu Gowon was emphasizing that he had warned the Nigerian army, the Nigerian soldiers, not to harm women and children, but they should rather engage the Biafran soldiers. That was basically their assignment. And you heard what Mr. Forsyth said, that the Nigerian soldiers went up and above and beyond. They put aside the order from the government and decided to go on a blood rampage. So obviously that aligns with what General Yakubu Gowon is actually saying. Now, that is not the only thing he actually admitted to. He also disclosed that the key reason for the collapse of the Aburi Accord, the last major attempt to prevent Nigeria's civil war, was because of a fundamental disagreement with Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu over who should control military forces in the country's region. So during the interview, Gowon explained that although both parties engaged in sincere dialogue during the January 1967 summit in Aburi, Ghana, the Eastern region leader Ojukwu later pushed for a form of accord is widely regarded as a decisive moment that led to the outbreak of the Nigerian Civil War in July 1967, a conflict that lasted until 1970 and claimed over a million lives. For almost 13 years, history was taken out of our curriculum. A couple of information were distorted. There were quite a number of accurate narratives of what transpired during the Civil War. But like I said, this clarification is needed. Nigerians were asking General Yakubu Gowon to come and tell his own side of the story. Maybe there'll be some national healing and not point blanketing or, throwing a ping pong. It's your fault. It's not my fault. It's this region that caused it. It's that region that caused it. The war was an unfortunate situation that I don't think anybody in this part of the world, anyone in this country would want that that repeat of what transpired. In other words, according to Yakubu Gowon, he was working for the unity of Nigeria and not against the Igbos. That narrative should actually be dead and done with. Now, that is not the only thing. Coming back to insecurity. Good evening and thank you for joining us on the Evening Rush. How are you?
Yes, I'm okay. How are you too?
I am fine. Thank you for joining me today. Barrister Darlington, very quickly, I just need you to help me clarify something. You're one of the persons who must have experienced the Civil War at the time. General Yakubu Gowon eventually had an interview with one of the senior reporters and correspondents, journalists actually, on a Monitor television program, which has set the tone for the conversation across the nation, where he said that the Civil War was not against the Igbos. And he literally said that Ojukwu was the person who went against the Aburi Accord, took advantage of a moment when no decision was made and made an announcement unilaterally, and that was what actually led to the Civil War. In other words, Ojukwu wasn't patient. Ojukwu made a misrepresentation, also wanted to say...
So who was in charge at that time? He didn't tell us. If he's sick, his deputy should have taken charge. So try to claim that it was Ojukwu that did this and that and that.
So in other words, he was the one who broke the Aburi Accord and not Ojukwu, because people are saying that he lied, that the records are there, that the regional army was one of the things agreed at Aburi, and it was agreed that the regional armies would be under the control of the regional military governors, and that he signed the agreement only to return to Nigeria, realized that what he signed gave a lot of powers to regions, and went back to the agreement, and that he invited Ojukwu to the Midwest meeting, knowing fully well that Ojukwu was not safe there.
I am coming. When he came back, this hawkish military officer said, no, why did you sign this thing? No, we will not agree. They tore it. They tore it. Then he said Gowon could not stop the king of the Igbos in the north. That was why they ran down to the east and told Ojukwu to clear Biafra for them. No longer safe in Nigeria. Did the Gowon mention such a thing? No. He cleverly avoided it. And let me only tell you, Esther, there is no law under the earth that allows you to kill women and children in the battlefield. Under the Geneva Convention, you are not allowed. It's a crime against humanity. This is the truth. You cannot tell me that you have a description. There is collateral damage. Collateral what? Let me me tell you the truth. Thank God you played this in now that the 4-6 said. Freddy Forsyth, you know, he wrote a book about Ojukwu, Emeka. He wrote a book. The title is Emeka. Go and read that book. Forsyth said that when the federal troops were fair, don't know history. Thank God a neutral person is telling you now. Under the Geneva Convention, that you are not allowed. It's unfortunate that Biafra did not succeed. Would have gone to ICC.
Well, Barrister Darlington,
Yes.
the thing is,
At that time, there was no ICC.
Gowon actually admitted that he couldn't tell what the soldiers were doing, but that he gave a specific order that women and children should be saved. They shouldn't be tampered with. They shouldn't be harmed. That was the order.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, the soldiers decided to go on a blunt rampage.
Tell you that he was not in charge, yes, sir. That in fact he indicted himself. If a military head of state give an order and he was not obeyed, what does that tell you? He indicted himself. I thank God that God is very wonderful. He has indicted himself and he was not in charge. Go on. Have you heard him condemn what is going on in his own state, in Plateau State? He cannot talk. Because the people that are doing all these things are the same people that he joined hands to kill the Igbos during the Biafran War. Shame cannot allow them now to expose themselves. That is why he cannot say anything. He cannot write a book. You can see it now. The man has indicted himself that he was not in charge. So why did you kill women and children? Are they the one fighting for you? It was at that point that I decided the 30-pound policy. And took all our money. And you are using our money to fight us. Is that what you call a victory? As if that was not, they blocked Bakassi, where we were bringing something from. Because if Bakassi is other Biafran land, they blocked it and gave it to Cameroon without any discussion. All because you want to deal with Biafra. It's 1967. I don't want it again. Why would you be killing people and you want them to fold their hands and be watching you? Is that not exactly what caused the civil war? When some people who just took it upon themselves to be massacring other people, and you say they should keep quiet. But one should have spoken by now to prove that he's a statesman. That is why all the time he said you were praying, Nigeria, Nigeria. No, God does not answer his prayer now.
All right, Barrister Darlington.
God has been praying. Have you seen the benefit of that prayer?
All right,
No,
Barrister
God
Darlington.
will tell us, have there any benefit of that prayer? To tell you that God does not take such a prayer. He cannot answer such a prayer. But what has not said the truth? If God should forgive anybody, he will forgive Babangida. At least he said the truth. He said the truth.
He
the
said
truth
his
that
truth.
Gowon has refused to say.
All right, Barrister Darlington, thank you so much. I just called you to clarify that particular conversation this evening. It's what we're striving for. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Lawal, the president visited Benue State today amidst the clarion call and backlashes from Nigerians. Eventually, he did. But it also triggered a wave of public anger and condemnation following allegations that school children were compelled to line the streets under heavy rain to welcome him. Then the president, we know, is there to sympathize with victims of the recent attacks in Yelawata, Gomaluku government area, where over 300 lives were lost. But what many expected to be a solemn condolence turned into a political parade, as groups were seen along major roads holding placards bearing images of Tinubu and Governor Hyacinth Alia with messages suggesting a second-term campaign. Now, that's not the only...
Well, let me just use that word.
Okay.
Mild, unfortunate. Before he even came, they were clearing the road. They were putting banners, billboards across the roads. They cleaned everywhere. And is it coming to commission something? It's not coming on a ceremonial visit, for God's sake. It's coming on a condolence. You want to come and see somebody whose wife or maybe son just died. Are you coming with a fanfare?
Well, are you going to blame the president for all of that fanfare?
It shows
Wouldn't you blame the governor of the state for that? It was the governor of the state that decided to go through all that fanfare. The president was coming to visit the victims. All of those embellishments were basically the governor. They were all the governors.
I'm coming. In fact, it was stripes away. He stopped that. He came that very day. That thing happened. The bomb stopped around there, I think 6. It stopped around that 6. He came that day. He came. People gathered around him that day. He listened to them. He talk. He said he was going somewhere. He had to divert. He He came that very
Alright,
day.
but, Mr.
By
Bala,
that night, he was in Lagos. He was here. Now, excuse me. After that, did you hear about that again?
Okay, you have reiterated. I want us to listen to the behind the scenes, or will I say the agenda of the states that have been plagued recently by ISWAP, Boko Haram, or Fulani terrorists, as they have been termed lately. And this state specifically, Benue, Plateau, Nasarawa, Zamfara. These are food producing.
So that the Taraba state have Adabarak, have many security inside. So they should give me the money so that with the security we can make understand with them and know how the fight will go on. So those people say that the price is too much. Then give me 350 million. Then me, man, I refused to fight on 350 million. Then
did you collect the money?
No. When I refused, they didn't give me because the money that they said they will give me 350 million was too small to fight against the Taraba state.
All right, so this was his name is Tewase Akwaza. For a lot of people who do not know him, he's also known as Ghana. Sometimes spelled as Ghana, but it's
To Niger State, from Niger State to Enugu, from Enugu to Edo. It is most irresponsible, Mr. President, that none of these reports have been implemented. Mr. President, time upon times, the Nigerian police parade arrested hoodlums, criminals, 10 along Kaduna Road, 20 connected with Zamfara killings, 10 connected with killings in Niger. Yet, Mr. President, there is no justice. All these arrested, paraded criminals find their way back to the society. Where then is justice? President must be bold enough to take
of having a hand in crimes in the state. Ghana also revealed that he was trained by the Fulani headsmen in Niger, Sudan, and Cameroon, and he had on different occasions alongside his gang fought as mercenaries for the Fulani headsmen in their various conflicts in Nigeria. He alleged that the Fulani headsmen planned to take over Plateau, Nasarawa, Benue, and Taraba states and contacted him to handle the Taraba axis of their invasion.
We don't need you to come and tell us. We need you to. Not that you are telling us. Are we the one to help you remove the moles? Are we the one to come into the army and clean the army, or the force that you are telling us that there is a mole in the army? Are you not the one integrating them back? People who are killers, who are terrorists, you tell them to lay down their arms, and then they have repented, and then you integrate, you negotiate with them, you reintegrated them back into the army. The same weapon, you give it back to them. Is that not it? And then you are telling us there's a mole. Who put the mole there? Are they mole or the people you actually put there yourself? Because you are the one. You told us that the killer has repented. And you put him.
Administration of the president, they feel that this one has been very active, vocal. A couple of Nigerians have reacted in regards
with what he
to
said.
him.
That has no meaning to me.
Okay, why doesn't it have a meaning to
and you are telling me that the police does not need to depend on budget. What does that mean?
Okay, explain further. Give your.
Well, what do you mean? Everybody depends on budget
synopsis.
now. Why will you not depend on? You want to just be putting your hand in the coffer and be bringing out money? Is that the way to run? Budget doesn't mean the money. It means a breakdown of how you want to spend a certain money you are requesting. But that's a budget. You're telling us the police doesn't need a budget. You just need to be going there. Does that make a sense to somebody who is a minister? That doesn't make a sense. He's just bragging. He's just talking. He doesn't know what he's saying. Okay. America that is spending huge money depends on budget. You must tell us what you want to use that money for, and you justify it. Okay. If you want to spend 1 trillion, you give us a breakdown and justify it. And then that's very funny. Very, very funny. In 2 ways. The president said that his enemies don't want him to succeed.
No, he's referring to Governor Hyacinth Thalia, that his enemies does not want him to succeed.
He himself has said that he doesn't listen to
no, he also
social
said
media
that
because
he reads newspapers and that they insult him a lot, but he learns from them. He just admitted now that no matter what he does,
changed it. Before that was not what he said initially. He has changed it today.
Initially,
good.
He said that it was during the process of trying to put the policy together that he knew that if he had listened to the news, that they would have made his resolve shaken. So he refused to listen to the news and read the papers. But now that the policy agenda is already on ground, submitted to the Senate, now he can watch TV and listen to the news. Go ahead in reaction, please.
That is serious. Think for yourself and then you'll be failing. That is what is they are not taking actions. And that's why some people are saying they are corporates in it, that they are kind of, shielding them.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we need to get your reaction right about now on the conversation that we have heard. I would have loved us to go into the political scene, but at this particular point in time, there are more pressing issues. Politics will continue to be the order of the day, but do you think Governor Hyacinth Thalia did what was right by asking the government institutions, telling the children to come and welcome the president in all their colorful attires and welcome the president to the state too? All the banners that were put across the road president, like he's coming to commission a project. Okay, you did banners like you and the president are campaigning ahead of 2027. You're telling people to come out and be happy and smile and praise the president to come in, when you know the reason that the president is coming. If it were on a normal circumstance, the president would not be coming to your state. Please listen to conversations, get it right before you call on the program. Thank you very much. Hello, good evening, how are you?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm fine.
What's your name, please?
My name is Tinubu.
You're in a very noisy environment, sir. Can you call back?
My name is Tinubu.
Please call back, Mr. Solomon. 080-3692-9933. That's the
Thank God for the youth that even show their anger by pulling down all those things.
They did. There were many.
I don't know. In Benue, yes. The youth grew angry. They were pulling all those things that they put, what they call them, the posters and
yes,
the
posters, yes, banners.
It's very bad. Okay, look at children under this drain. And when they go home, some might even catch COVID. I don't know. This country, where is where? Where done, ma? Where done, Mr. Kundai?
Thank you very much, ma, for calling. 080-3692-9933. That's the number to call. 080-3692-9933. Hello, how are you?
You people are well trained and retrained to defend people, and then you are not telling people that don't know anything to defend themselves. How can I defend myself with what, my sister? That's my own question. If you say I should defend myself, I should defend myself with what? With the cutlass or with the cane? That's what I'm saying.
Thank you very much for calling. Thank you.
Yeah.
080-3692-9933. That's the number to call. 080-3692-9933. Meanwhile, the family home of Senator Natasha Akpotu-Dwahan in Ihima Okehi local is not supposed to be the only thing that will be focused on. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine.
What's your name, please?
My name is Kiriam.
Eukarya.
Kiriam.
All right. Location, please.
location, I'm at Devil now.
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
My question is to Ali, the governor of Benue State. Since Allah is a reverend father, does he whatever somebody did, he must surely be happy. So now he wants people to be sympathized with him. You know, really, that was the one. After many people have been died happy. So if you do this for ahead of 2027, God bless you. God bless your children. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling. 08036929933. That is the number. 08036929933. That is the number. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Sir.
Good evening, sir. What's your name, please?
My name is Chigozie.
All right,
Calling
Chigozie.
from Fresh Start.
Okay, 08036929933. 08036929933. Somebody sent a message on SMS to ask if Takwasi Ghana is still alive. He's actually dead. They killed him. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Esther.
Good evening, ma. What's your name, please?
My name is Madam Peace from Barua, Ikpaja.
All right, Madam Peace. Welcome. Please go ahead.
Okay. What happened in Benue State? The president is like they were coercing him to go there. He didn't go there willingly.
Okay.
After all Nigerians have cried and shouted before he went, it's not fair. And
Now, for the president to go is not bad. It's very good.
Exactly.
Yes, that's a marching order when he goes there because all attention goes there with him. But what we are saying is the setting. The setting doesn't make him see the truth. That's what we're saying.
Okay, yeah. With the fanfare.
Yes, it
and
is
all
shielded,
the banners.
It shielded from
The seriousness of the situation.
Yes, it makes it look like maybe it's not. Maybe they are not. Maybe it's even not something that's
maybe
serious.
they exaggerated.
Maybe they exaggerated.
All right. Hello, 08036929933. That's the number to call. Hello, good evening. How are you? Hello. Hello, good evening. How are you? You sound very low. What's your name?
Hello, good evening. This is Osazua calling from Ibadan. Can you hear me now?
You said your name is?
Osazua calling from Ibadan.
Okay. All right, go ahead, sir.
Yes, my concern or what I want to comment on is the president's mode of visit.
Okay.
To Benue State. I have seen in many cases where in the U.S.
He couldn't talk. Why is he finding it difficult to say the truth at his age? As head of state, you don't know your army are committing genocide, Abby. Are you talking to BT? The three are the truth. As for Tinubu and Benue visit, is there any hope of ending the mass killings in Nigeria, Benue, Enugu, Plateaus and Faro in particular? Oga Tinubu, forget 2027 and save lives first. That's from Chijioke. Nigerians should now think of having respect and fear of God. The fear of karma is real. The events we are seeing today in Borno, North Central, because the president asked, where are the criminals? He was expecting them to have gotten person to visit the state. Okay. All right, let's see. Good evening, Esther. Good evening to you, Esther. I'm from Middle Belt, and I agree completely with Gowon on his comment concerning the civil war. The truth is that the Middle Belt entered that war out of ignorance. Today, Middle Belt are the greatest Igbo partners in politics. That's why Peter Obi was able to gather highest number of votes from Plateau State, which is the headquarters of the Middle Belters. Do you think an that there is a world government seat in New York that decides fate of nations. Ignorance of law does not exempt any people from the consequences of actions and decisions by same people. Igbo people, please learn before you fall into another self-destruction. Okay, Ifedi. Good evening, VOP, and the guest. I am Osita from Isolo. Esther, did you notice any church gathering or workers lined up during the president's visit? It's what he is used to. That was presented to him and he couldn't refuse it. We have a leader who doesn't care about human life, but after his praises and election. Secondly, it's unfortunate since when I saw that video of Dino Malai agitating against the killings in Benue State, yet dirty politics were played on the lives of Nigerians. It's time the tribalism and nepotism and religious fanatics be dealt with, else it will lead to ethnic crisis. Secondly, why is David Mark, former Senate President, remaining numb in all the killings in his state? It's high time Nigerians know that they are being ruled by
under the rain without any covering. Did the president go through any covering? Because the president, from the news and what we saw, there was nothing like, he did not even show any concern or to have blamed the governor to have bring out the children under the rain. So why must the governor? I don't really think that man is a man of God. Though. Maybe they need to collect that blood from him and make him an ordinary person. I don't think he's a man of God, though. I don't really think so.
There's no emergency money for him again, though. He's learning for Fubara. Number 3. We don't forget even bury and a party for Nigeria. Imagine president they come, they don't do party. What are people saying? The president is coming, they must celebrate now. What do you expect? Who want to give account? Everything in Nigeria is politics. Everything in Nigeria is politics. Even in the church, it's even worse than the one they're doing outside.
Wallahi. Orusumibari Shasha, please tell Mr. Lawal to stop making a caricature of this program. Why is he blaming President Tinubu for the people of the state welcoming him in whatever manner? What's the president's fault in that? Just as you, the uncle, asked him. In fact, I'm just laughing here uncontrollably because your guest analyst there is sounding so hilarious. He'll just be blaming the president for blaming sick. In fact, if his wife does not cook at home for him, he will blame President Tinubu for it. On the civil war fought by the country in 1977, both sides, the federal troop and the Biafran side, both led Odumegwu Ojukwu, were both driven by youthful, egoistic exuberance. Both sides, under the leadership of the two bosses, Ojukwu and Gowon, were equally guilty. They closed their eyes on the dire consequences of the actions they were both embarking upon then. The preceding violent events that made the civil war inevitable. However, had the two leaders of
Four 0905 904 7514. Now let's go to Delta State. In Delta State, we have the Fairview Estate Phase 2, which is located in Ibuzo, and the Fairview Estate Phase 2 is selling for 2.5 million naira per plot. And we also have the Kudos Heights. Kudos Heights is also located in Ibuzo main town, and Kudos Heights is selling for just 1.5 million naira per plot. And we have Kudos Court. Kudos Court is a buy and build estate, and Kudos Court is going for just 4.5 million naira per plot. Now you'll be asking, why are all these estates in Ibuzo? In fact, all
So, good evening, Barrister Darlington and Esther. When I watch what's happening in Gaza and Iran's Israel war, I imagine what happened during Biafra war when there was no internet and cameras to cover everything that happened. And I think the thing is, General Gowon's throat is releasing his throat gradually, and one day we'll hear the whole truth. On Benue genocide, I couldn't believe a press would prioritize politics. Is there any other country called Nigeria so that I can go there? I'm really tired of all this bad news. My question is, please, what's the way forward? We can't continue like this. Every life matters. Please, God, help us. All right. Good evening, Esther, and my brother in the studio. I want to let all Nigerians know that this APC government is an antichrist government. So no matter how the masses will cry, they will not answer because there is no human feeling and sympathy in them. Therefore, it's high time we Nigerians wake up and